I wonder if I need to talk to start it. No?
We're ready for that.
There we go. Okay, good evening. We're the Littleton Zoning Board of Appeals. We're in room 103 at Shattuck Street at the Townhouse. And we're opening the public hearing on Thursday, January 18th, 2024, at this location. And we have a 7:10 hearing and no others, so you'll be starting on time, but we can't start you until 7:10 in case there are abutters. So first, let's talk about the minutes. Has anyone had a chance to review them? I would like to make some corrections, and I leave it to the board to comment if they think they're appropriate or not. So, relative to the hearing on 39 Washington Drive, no, relative to the member comments, it's item number B on the minutes. We talk about things to fill time, and I don't think we should have a detail in members' comments about the details of the Rotary Club fundraiser. I think it's wonderful that Cheryl reports the great things that they're doing, but I don't think it belongs in ZBA minutes in any great detail. No. So what I'd like to do is shorten, if nobody minds, shorten that to Cheryl Colley reported that the Littleton Rotary Club is conducting a toiletries drive, and they're going to start a blanket drive, and leave it at that, if that's okay with everybody. Yep. The next thing, and this was interesting, I was at a meeting last night where it was a committee meeting, but one of the people who's on our select board commented that editorial comment doesn't belong in the minutes. So things like board was disappointed or the board felt shouldn't be in the comments. So just going along with that, I kind of perused the case number 23968 from that point of view. And starting at the beginning, I thought it was confusing when it says on one end the deck will be 5.1 feet and 5.5 feet into the setback. I don't know what the board feels about that. That's how we discussed it. But to me, reading it again a second time, felt like we were allowing a 5-foot setback from the property line. And I'd like to reword that so it clearly states.
I think what that says is fine if you say, and that results in an X distance to this property line, something like that.
So you mind if I just, so I think what you're kind of suggesting is rather than the minutes reflect the narrative of the meeting, the minutes reflect the sort of more what the results of the piece are. Like I think you're right, we talked about it as in the loose language there, but I think you're looking for the minutes to be a little tighter in terms of what was actually the decision or leading to the decision.
Leading to the decision. You may be right. What he said may resolve it.
Yeah.
So just because I was reading it, I was here and I know what we did, and I said, we didn't allow a 5-foot setback, did we?
No, I read it as 5 feet into the setback.
Into the setback.
Yeah.
Okay, maybe I just read it too fast.
But that results in 10 feet.
You might, if you were confused, then maybe we should just say it allows you so many feet from the property line.
Yeah.
So it's non-ambiguous.
And then that way I can take that as a cue as to how you like the minutes reviewed as we prepare for the meetings also.
So maybe we say what you just said, Rod, is resulting in a reduced setback of approximately 9 feet.
Yeah.
Right. Okay, yeah. And then it carries forward to the next paragraph. To approximately 9 feet. Okay. And then it says the reason for the variance request is that the property is on a hill, blah, blah, blah. I think it needs to say petitioners stated that the reason is. That isn't the reason this board
correct.
Opined, right? The reason for the variance request is that the property is located on a hill, and that proposed location is the only one where it would be possible to have an outdoor space, which is fine. I asked for confirmation about the 22.7 and the deck 12.5, asked if there will be a 10-foot setback to the property line. Applicants are seeking a 5.1-foot waiver. Sewell stated that results in a 9-foot setback, and I'm okay with that. And Sewell made the comment that the neighbors 55 feet to the lot line Just curious, where did that come from? Was that on the plan?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's
Yeah.
fine. Maybe we say, Sewell replied that the plan shows it's 55 feet. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Indicates. So Sewell replied that the plan indicates it's 55 feet. Okay. Gould asked if the applicants are the first owners of the property. They replied they are not. Gould explained that the reason for asking is that the board is hard-pressed to grant a variance, and it's not really hard-pressed. It's almost, the board cannot grant a variance when the hardship is created by the applicant.
Yeah, that puzzled me a little bit, because I was surprised she said the second owner can do it, but the first owner couldn't.
And I don't think I said that. I said the review is different.
Yeah, oh,
when it's
and there was
several
one year, maybe 2 years ago, where somebody was building a brand-new house, and they did build it too close to the property line, and the building inspector told them it was too close to the property line, and they built the house anyway, and then wanted to put the steps on the front, and the steps were pushed you past the magic number, and we refused to give them permission.
Yeah, so, so that's the hardship created by the applicant, and though they didn't create the hardship because a builder built it, they bought into the property knowing that, because they get a plot plan when they buy the property, and you get, ostensibly you have an attorney tell you what the setbacks are. So then the next sentence says, that's not a concern if there has been more than one owner, and I don't think I said that. If I did, I misspoke. It's a concern, but it's a different review, I think, when it's not the first owner. Do you think so?
I kind of agree with that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, like I said, look, the example I just mentioned, the building inspector told them they were building it where they couldn't put those steps on.
So I'm going to say there might
They did
be
it anyway.
a different review. There might be a different review if more than one owner. If more than one owner, okay. Hollinger read the abutters letter into the record, which is fine. And then over here, it says, Sewell asked if the deck railing will stick out beyond the 12 feet of the deck. Dutcher replied that it will be inside the 12 feet, which is fine. Gould stated that the lot is unique. I stated, I hope, that the criteria is that the board find, because I can't find it, okay?
Right.
That a variance requires.
Yeah, and I was only questioning about the railing, because if we give them the clearance, then all of a sudden the railing sticks out a little bit further.
Yeah.
The building inspector's gonna not approve the railing, so
So I'm just going to say,
make sure we give them the right number the first time.
Gould stated that a variance requires that the board find that the lot is unique, the applicant has a substantial hardship without the variance, and the board can grant it without substantial derogation of the zoning bylaw. Field moved to close the hearing, Stewart seconded, all in favor, and it passed. Board member input, probably somewhere in there should go that after the input, we made a finding that the lot is unique, that it was a hardship and blah, blah, blah. Don't you think?
Yeah, because that's a requirement for the approval. Somewhere we have to,
So I'm going to put it right in here. Board found that the lot what did I say? Lot is unique. Can grant that applicant had a substantial hardship without it. I think we gave it to him for the bugs, didn't we? Okay. So if everybody followed my amendments, do you want to make a motion to approve them as amended, please?
We approved the minutes as October 18th, was it? As amended.
Brad moves it and
Second.
John seconds. Okay. Okay, it is 7:10. John, you want to call the hearing, please?
Okay, it's 7:10, case 24-969, 82 Spectacle Pond Road. The petitioners, Justin and Diane Rodder, I hope I don't pronounce it, are seeking a variance/special permit in pursuit of 173-31 to reduce the side setback, install a new garage, and any other related business.
Thank you. Darrell, I'm going to appoint you as the voting alternate.
Thank you.
This hearing.
I didn't have to remind
You only
you.
have 4 members, what?
I didn't have to remind you.
But that's his first time, so.
You can bring a chair up if you want, or,
Yeah.
you know, however you like to do it.
And we do this relatively informally. You've made your written presentation.
So my name is Kevin Conover. I'm from David Ross Associates, and I represent
You can chair one.
Justin and Diane Bronder, property located at 82 Spec Pond Road in Littleton. They're the homeowners, and there's an existing house on the property, and they are seeking a variance to construct a 2-car garage to the westerly side of the house. As shown on the plot plan as submitted, the house does not have a garage as it exists now. The proposed addition will be 9.4 feet away from the westerly property line. This is located in a residential district, and where 15 feet is required for a side yard setback. Conversation with the building inspector, he suggests we come to the Board of Appeals for a variance, and that's what we have submitted today with the documents. Are there any questions?
Board members?
Did you bring a floor plan of the?
I did. I submitted those with...
Well, you did, but I didn't have one with me. I just want to see the actual garage itself. So there is also not just a 2-car garage, but a mudroom space that extends, pushes it out an extra, what, 8 feet?
I think it's 5.4 feet.
What's the width of the garage itself?
The width of the garage is 24.5 feet long.
Okay, so that 30 feet I showed,
Yeah, it's
I
30.
saw was including the mudroom.
That's correct.
What is it? Okay.
I kind of shut down what I was going to say, because I was going to say a 30-foot garage is awfully wide.
Me too.
So, I have a question in terms of, did you look at alternatives that would not require a variance?
In terms of the placement of the garage, no. Obviously, you can see from the plan, that's where the end of the driveway is. Behind the house, there is a pool, and anything placed adjacent to the house would still be within the setback. So, in terms of alternatives, in terms of the location of it, no.
About the size of it?
I did not know. They looked at other alternatives.
The near side, is that what, that looks like maybe it's about 12 feet?
The setback to the closest corner of the proposed
Yeah.
garage is 9.4.
No, the other corner.
That would be more than 9.4.
Right, looks like it may be around 12
Right, I
or
think it's
something.
around 10, maybe.
Let's get more.
Well, if this is to scale,
That's
it's
15
probably
feet,
more
that's
like
close
12.
to about 12.
Is this 3-season porch a new addition too?
No, that's an existing.
That's existing. I just want to make a comment to the board, a couple of things. First of all, I want to applaud your presentation. I really found this very helpful, the way you drew the setback line, and we could see on paper exactly how far over.
A lot of times we get plans that have no dimensions on it.
No, I think that's a valid argument. We try to give you as much information. Unfortunately, I did not put the dimensions of the building on the plot plan. I'm referencing the architect, the date of the plan, so everybody's on the same page of what was submitted to the board.
The other comment I wanted to make to the board is, he has applied for variance/special permit. I've asked, as the chair, to have every application say that, because very often someone will apply for a variance when it's only a special permit, or a special permit when it needs a variance, and I want not to have to send somebody home and have to repost. But this is a variance, and the variance, again, requires, like we just had it during the minutes, first they have to show that there is, the lot is unique in some fashion, and that there is a substantial hardship not to allow this to happen, and the questions about the size of the garage being oriented differently come into play. And then we have to find that this can be granted if we grant it without substantial derogation from the intent and purpose of the bylaw or to the public at large. So after the presentation, when the board finishes their comments, then we ask if there's anybody in the audience that has anything to say.
The other question I have is, obviously, the neighbor who you're growing closest to, have you talked to them, and they made any comments about what you're doing?
My client indicated to me, Diane Bronder is here, she can comment on the relationship with them. She indicates that she has babysat for their kids, and they're very good friends. She is not in attendance tonight because they're both our school teachers, and one has COVID, so they're not in attendance.
Thank you.
She may be able to speak better on the relationship between her and her neighbor.
Yeah, so I've already spoken to them in depth about putting in the garage. Obviously, I have a very good relationship with my neighbors, and I want to keep it that way. They have no issue with it, especially since they can access the backyard from the other side of their house if they needed to get something large back there. But yeah, they didn't have any issues with it when I had spoken to them a few times about the project.
It doesn't show on the plans, but how close is their house to the property line?
So
Or their
interesting.
whatever they're...
Sure, interesting as that. So in 1987, the plan was done to create the lot in that configuration. It was done because the adjoining house was built too close to the property line. So that plan that's recorded to registry shows that the existing house, the neighbor's house, is a little more than 15 feet away.
So somebody made a deal to steal space from this line.
Correct.
That explains why the zigzag is there.
Right. So if you think in the perfect world, that was probably a straight line because most of the lots...
Well, it shows it was a straight line.
Right. So that was done for Johnny Cantino back then. So I'm assuming that's what happened.
No, that's definitely what happened.
Well, it's 15 feet from the jiggy line.
Correct,
Yeah.
to the neighbor's house, that's correct.
Yeah, because it looks like that line probably went straight across.
Yeah.
Well, you see the original plan, it definitely
Yeah.
went straight across.
Oh, yeah.
Also, I noted that this is a purchase out of a foreclosed deeded property. It went to Fannie Mae in a foreclosure, and so this is a purchase out of Fannie Mae for whatever relevance that has. But that made me think that the jiggy line, if you want to call it that, and the lot configuration wasn't through anything that this buyer could have avoided.
So I looked a little bit more into that because I guess I just don't know what order you do the pieces there. I pulled up, it looks like in the order of events from what I could see when I was going through the registry of deeds is they built the house on that original lot, and then at some point the correction was made by pulling into this lot. That correction was predated the building of this house.
Predated the building of the applicant's house?
Yes.
Yes.
There. So that lot line was all predetermined before the next house was built.
But still, that house was built in total conformity.
Yeah.
The lot conforms,
Right.
the house conforms, the
What I
setbacks.
couldn't find is our ZBA records or whether they had applied for an application of, I guess it would be 8, is it 80 or 82? I don't know what, 80. Did 80 apply for a variance and get denied and they moved the lot line, or did they just correct the lot line because it was a free piece there? There was no record
Good
of
question.
anything there on it. I did see that a variance was granted to 80, but it was relative to an in-law apartment, not any setbacks.
Great question and great research. I'm going to comment that back when the dates that you're talking about, they would have done a lot line adjustment. It was a vacant lot. The
Right.
same fellow might have owned them both even, you don't know.
I couldn't tell from the
Yeah.
deeds on
Yeah.
there, because, on it, but I just wanted to note that the property line adjustment was made before the next house was built.
Very interesting.
And that's the plan that referenced in our client's deed that shows that lot line adjustment.
Yeah, I found that.
You did. And I did the same thing that you do. I typically do that for a zoning board of appeals application, seeing what variance, special permits have been, and I did see that one. That was the only one I could find in the vicinity of this project.
I'd also like to comment, following up on Rod's question. I think everybody with kids needs a mudroom, and I don't deny you your mudroom. But personally, I've always, or never understood, why we have a 10-foot setback for a detached garage and a 15-foot for an attached garage. It's never made a lot of sense to me.
It doesn't.
And so if I could get to 10 feet somehow, this variance wouldn't bother me a bit.
Well, but the building inspector told us all they gotta do is leave a quarter-inch gap.
Yeah, but you don't want to
No,
do
then
that,
seal it
because then you're taking off your muddy boots in the cold, or
Yeah.
meeting
I
kids
know.
from school in the cold, and seal it afterwards. Yeah, you're not wrong about that. But so 10 feet doesn't upset me. And you just heard the minutes from last week, we gave somebody 9.5, or 9. I just read them and I don't even
I'm
remember.
not going to have
9.1.
heartburn over 7 or 8 inches.
You're not going to have heartburn?
No, not over 8 inches.
Okay. All right.
No, not if you look at just 7 or 8 inches.
And I assume your measurement is to the eave, not to the foundation, right?
To the foundation, to the wall, yeah.
And if they took the mean, this setback basically from the middle of the garage,
Okay.
it's probably close to 10 feet or
Yeah.
a little
I would
better.
assume.
Okay,
Yeah.
just mine.
That'd be a good
2 cents.
assumption. Maybe a little bit more, probably.
Okay, want to close the hearing?
I have a question.
Yeah, sure.
Has the Board of Health approved this, or does this create a bedroom, or is it a potential? Or
So-
is it, I know it's listed as unfinished space.
Right, so the Board of Health has approved it. The system is the current house, I think, is a 3-bedroom. The system is a 4-bedroom capacity. So I looked at the floor plans just like you did, and it's not called for as a bedroom.
So they've approved it, that's my.
Yeah, but they get really picky sometimes.
Really?
Oh, well, yeah.
You wouldn't know that working in here, would you?
Yeah, you don't need a closet or anything. They just see a room and they call it a bedroom.
Right, so, but yes, they've looked at it.
But you got the extra space in the system, so not a problem. Looks like it'll be a playroom if you ask me. Got space for the garage. Perfect.
I'll take a motion.
Close the hearing.
I second it. Be spared, we already have.
Well, actually, I want to get all my notes in one place, so when I write the decision, I've got it. Okay. So, Rod to close and John second. Okay. Then you can sit back if you want, or you can stay here, but the board's going to deliberate now. Anybody? Want to start? Darrell?
Yeah, I had
Oh, wait, before we deliberate, do we got somebody in the audience, they want to say something?
I gave them a chance.
Oh, okay, I didn't hear you give
You're
a
rushing up to the microphone now.
Okay, fine, it's fine, just want to make sure we didn't, give her, she might have something she wants to say. Go ahead.
Yeah, so my questions, I think, or comments are gonna center around, again, it's what I asked about before, about the necessity and the technicalities of the piece here. So I drove down the street this time. I didn't go into these yards, though. I just, because actually it's cleared enough now. You can see up the yards there. So I got an idea of what you're talking about here, but then as I go down the street, I notice it's a random collection of style houses. There's no predominant style, there's no predominant thing there. But I did notice that the neighbor's garage on, I guess it would be 84, their garage is actually set back and tucked in back of the house to not encroach on into the setback there. So back to your comment, Sherry, about Cheryl, about Sherry, about the peculiarity of our zoning in terms of 10-foot setback versus 15-foot setback. I don't know what the actual resolution process is for that, other than the zoning probably ought to be updated to be a little bit more consistent. If that's the interpretation of the variance, the ZBA, that we're comfortable going with the detached style setbacks versus the other one. So I'm from a technicalities perspective, I'm having a little heartburn with granting variance, because the garage, the size of the garage plus the mudroom is what's creating it to be into the setback. A garage could be constructed that does not need a setback there. So that goes back to the necessity aspect of it in my mind. So I'm kind of like not 100% on board with where we're at right now.
So I was looking at the concept of, original thought was, but just push the garage back, and like you say, tuck it in behind the house. So you have to actually go. And that's what I'm getting to that. And then I look at this and said, oh, they already have a pool, and that would be, to me, it'd be a financial hardship to make them tear their pool out to get the garage in. To me, that would be, additional, and that's one of the reasons why allows us to give it, permission, is because if it'd be financially too expensive to do it another way that might possibly get done on the site. I mean, you could also set it off in the front of the house someplace down near the road, but that wouldn't work out real well either.
So, but speaking to Darrell's point, and frankly, it's refreshing, actually, John Cantino used to be on this board, and he was one of the most astute deliberators I ever remember having. Were you on with John Cantino?
No.
He was a builder, and you would think that he would give everybody everything, but he spoke just like you did, that this zoning bylaw and the idea of a variance is for must-haves, needs, not want-to-haves. And so speaking to your point, unfortunately, you're not wrong, that maybe you could stick your mudroom a little bit into the garage, or maybe you could take a foot off the mudroom.
Or a foot off the garage.
Or a foot off the garage.
I'm not engineering their solution, but
that's
I'm just
correct.
looking. Part of my work also, as I drove down my own neighborhood, we have all two-car garages attached, and some have entry doors in the garages, others have the other ones with single center entry houses. So it's not like a requirement in that sense. I understand your comment about, mudrooms are good.
Well, maybe also necessary in New England.
Yeah, but anyway, it varies house to house, there in terms of the differences.
How about you, Rod?
Yeah, my first thought was 30 feet for a garage is awfully wide, but then it turns out it's essentially what I put in 2 years ago, a 24-foot garage and about a 5.5-foot mudroom. And to me, those dimensions are just about perfect. So I'd hate to see them have to squeeze it down. You're not going to take over 5 feet off, and a few inches I'm not worried about. And secondly, I sort of see some hardship here in that the lot is very narrow, and then the neighbor, at one point they had to take away some of the lot width, namely the setback, in order to make their house compliant, and that put kind of a burden on this lot to make it more difficult to build something, on that side of the house. So it was almost like they took, originally it was a straight line, so they actually took the space away from them, and suddenly creating a hardship, I think.
John, so.
Like I said, hindsight's always 20/20, and the person building the original house had sketched on their plan future garage, that would have been solved because the house would have been pushed further over. And you would have had a nice spot for the garage, because that's, but we see lots of times people, the guy building a house, the original doesn't care about what the next person has to do. There are a couple ways, maybe you can't tuck it behind, you could tuck it in front, but that would be ugly. And so I think from a financial point of view of making them remove the pool or from, other things, it sort of meets the requirements in my mind for being, I think a hardship.
I don't think we allow garages forward of the house.
I'm not sure it says anything in the code that says you can't.
I think that's.
Because you can have a detached one in forward of the house.
Yeah. I didn't bring my zoning book to him.
I'm pretty sure you can have a detached one behind in front of the house. We did prove one on that very fine road. I can't think of the name of the road is, Harvard Road.
Anyway, you're right, it's not a practical solution to this.
No, and taking the pool out's not practical.
Field.
I agree that you can find that the conditions in the zoning act that grant a variance would be met here. And I'm also sympathetic to having gone through the design of a set of plans and then redesigned for a relatively small gain away from the property line. I don't see the fairness in that. I think that the dimensions and the building size are reasonable. They fit within the vernacular of the neighborhood.
It's not like someone's asking for this huge garage they can put, park tractor trailers in. It's just basically, like I say, standard size garage.
John Field Street.
Thank you. That was it for me.
So you find that the lot is unique, that there's a hardship?
Yeah, I believe that owing to the shape of the lot.
I'm also mostly motivated, because I'm a give everything away for free person, but I'm always motivated by the fact that there's no butters in opposition.
Yep.
Yes.
And as I drove down that neighborhood, as you did, in the dark, in the snow, and creating a traffic hazard for others. I was moved by the fact that everybody in that neighborhood has a large house, probably 4 bedrooms and better, and a 2-car garage. And this poor person was stuck with no garage for I don't know how many years, but I am sympathetic to you not having to go out in the cold one more morning and de-ice. So I don't think it substantially derogates from the intent or purpose, and I don't think it's an imposition on the neighborhood as you view it from the street and drive by, my opinion. Okay, so anybody want to move it to a vote?
I'll move, we vote.
And what are you gonna, what's your motion?
Second.
What's your motion?
Oh, I move that the board approve case 24-969,
Grant a variance.
the grant of variance based pursuant to 173-31 to allow for the new garage to be built, and as shown on the plans, the closest being 9.4 feet from the property line. And the plan is dated, is plan number S15292. Dated on how
You might want to reference this one, because this shows it very clearly, this.
Well, no, that's what I'm looking at.
Oh, where'd you get the number? I see NB8.
Lower corner, lower right-hand corner.
Oh, down there, okay.
Dated 12/19/23. My sister's birthday.
Somebody want to second that?
Second.
Who second? All in favor?
Aye.
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 It's 375 that day.
Darrell was a nay. Let you have your vote, 4-1. Go in peace.
Thank you.
That stuff for,
You can take it all back, yeah.
Stay away from the neighbor until the COVID's over.
Was this submitted
I
with your
know, right?
application?
Yes.
absolutely.
I feel bad, they have a baby and a 4-year-old. Like, good luck to you.
Good luck to you.
Thank you.
Have a good evening. Thank you for your
Thank
time.
you, you too.
Move to close, or we have anything else? Any other
Tim,
business?
because I did want to comment
You
that
didn't take a vote on your minutes changes.
Yes, we did.
as amended.
Yeah,
As
Not
amended.
Not as
I
amended.
didn't take.
I said.
Yes, you did, as amended.
Yeah.
That's why I
I
heard.
moved to accept as amended.
Yeah, I think I wrote it too, that he did.
I just heard you just move right into the public hearing.
No.
Minutes, Rod moved and John seconded, but you're right, I didn't vote. It was moved and seconded to accept the
And then you
minutes
went
as
right into
amended.
the-
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Stickler for
Thank you,
details.
thank you, I did miss that. I do want to comment, you're here as long as I am, maybe.
No, you were here a lot longer.
Well, weren't you here and then left and came back, or not? Am I
No.
mixed up? You were on planning board.
I was on planning board, and then I was on that government study committee, and then when Joe, then thanks to Joe Knox, I got in here as an alternate, and then he
Let's
left.
close. Let's
Yeah.
close and we'll
Oh.
chat for a minute. So who wants to move to close the meeting?
Well, before you turn it off, I'll move to close.
No, second?
Second.
Vote.
So that's John and then Rod. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, the meeting's closed.